Welcome. Wait a minute.
They're great.
I didn't even flash. Wait a minute. Hang on. Put that back on screen here a second. What else can you say? Like, that looks fantastic, dude.
This is amazing.
Yeah, it is. Welcome into another Tuesday night evening blend. I'm Pop Blender, and with me, as always, and always showing off the figs, Matson. That is awesome. I love it, dude. How you doing today, my friend?
Good day.
Good, very good. Spring is in the air.
Yeah.
Right? And summer is right around the corner because we've had a couple warm days here in Nashville.
Yeah.
And you can feel it. You can definitely tell when I'm laying out mulch next week, I'm probably going to be sweating my butt off. And hopefully not getting bit by mosquitoes. I've tried to take care of that, trying to have the yard sprayed. Don't know how well it works. It is what it is.
Right.
There's only so many fixes you can do with those sons of bitches. But we are here on another Tuesday night to bring you some fake news, some real news, some, ho-hum news, at least for Matthew, probably some ho-hum news. We're number one. And a little bit of everything. A couple of things that I did go over Sunday, but I didn't, go over them with you. And I always like to get your opinion, especially. And instead of me just talking the whole time. So let's do that. Obviously, we get a few people rolling in, and always appreciate any and everybody coming in to hang out with us for a couple hours. First in the door, and Dreadnought K6. How you doing, man? Here for the freezes. Anybody that watched Sunday, and I know, Matthew, you saw it, my internet was being a son of a bitch. Nothing I could do about it. It's really frustrating, man. If you stream and you're trying to share a lot of stuff, and it's not just you maybe talking, or maybe you're working with a figure, you got an overhead cam, but if you're trying to go through stuff, man, and all of a sudden you just keep getting these hiccups and your camera cuts out, right? And then your picture disappears. Everybody's stuck with me. And for that, I appreciate, but man, it's so frustrating. It really is. Joe Fan 84 in the house. Triple D's Dungeon. Oh hell, here we go. And yes, we do. Look, nutritional facts on the side of that box. I'll tell you, moving forward, Matthew, those nutritional facts may change.
Well, you better get your cereal mascots now, because they're all going to be bland, colorless cereal from now on.
You better get as many things with red dye number 4 and red dye number 3 and petroleum based products.
No more Easter eggs for anybody. You can't color those Easter eggs no more.
No more. Get those Easter eggs out of here, or lay them yourself. That's what I do. Turk Murphy's Toy Solutions is in the house. What's going on, my friend? Good to see you. Johnny Reno is here as well. It's such a great name. You're right. You know, anything with
Yeah.
Reno, baby, I love it.
So, what's really funny is that I'm in a collab group with a Johnny Rhino.
Oh wow.
And so I'm like, every now and then I'm like, oh, not the same, not the same.
No, I could get that. Viper Scout is also here, y'all.
What's up, Viper
Yep,
Scout?
yep, yep. Bobby Wall's in the house. Says, "Oh no, inflation hit Matthew's cereal. How much did you have to pay?" Now it's like, God, I know when I go to the grocery store and look at a box of cereal, y'all, right? Like we can all
Mm-hmm.
agree on this. A box of freaking cereal it's like $6. And occasionally they'll put the biggest box on sale and it's cheaper than the
Yeah,
smallest box.
right.
But and you're like, do I want that much cereal? Like, I guess if I get it, I'm gonna have to eat it all. And but dude, like a box of freaking cereal is so expensive. And unfortunately now, as you can see, it the amount Matthew got for $7 fits into a thimble. So God bless it. Oh my goodness gracious. You know, I'm curious how many tigers were offended in making that commercial. You know, that is one brand that has
No, it
been
was
able
tiger
to,
representation. It was tiger representation.
well, and I'm sure, y'all, I'm sure that if a little baby tiger walked into a toy store and they saw a Tony the Tiger action figure, then they would feel represented. That they
Yes,
themselves would walk in and they'd say,
that's it.
"Mommy, look, that's a little tiger just like me. I'm seen now."
Yeah, yeah, because we all know how many parents raise their kids to be furries.
3-star draw, what's up? Nux back to you, man. Uh, a tigger, a little tigger. That's right, a little tigger. We all know one famous tigger, that's for sure. Oh, Winnie the Pooh. That's for man. Holy
Yep.
moly. Yeah, 3-star's been clamoring for that Joe Exotic figure for quite some time now. Um, yeah, he needs one definitely. And was it? Oh my gosh, was it Halloween 3-star? Was it was it that far back that with the Joe Exotic costume? It was more recent than that, right? Like, tell me I'm wrong. Otherwise, I'm losing it
Oh,
here. Uh, but he had a Joe Exotic. It was Halloween. Oh my God, dude, getting older sucks. Time flies so fast.
yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, I didn't think you would. I didn't think you would dress up like Joe Exotic on a regular day. Clint Jorgensen's here.
What's up,
Tw-
Clint?
2020? What, 2020 all over again? Or I'm trying. Or is that the inflation? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Um, anyway, we do have some things to talk about, and we are going to talk about the Joe comics too later on, because it's something I've been wanting to do, and I know it's something that you've been wanting to do, and we've been bringing it up and kind of forgetting. So
Yeah.
hopefully y'all have been getting those. You know, I don't know if everybody's a comic fan or not. I've been getting the Transformers and the new American Hero run, continued run, and then
Yep.
the Energon, GI Joe. And
Yeah.
so we can go through some of that stuff later on today or tonight, I guess, and hopefully y'all have read those, and you're not like me, and you get like 7 or 8 or 10, and then you have to read them all. Like
Hey, well, however you get to read them.
I kind of like that though, man, because it's like reading one longer book.
Yep.
You know,
It's the
that's
graphic novel format.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We talked about that on the phone. I am a fan of the graphic novel, and that's the no ads. Give me the
Yeah.
book. Let me spend an hour or hour and a half or whatever, kind of soaking in, the graphic novel. Whereas the month to month, um, I get it, and then it's like, dang it, I read through that in 10 minutes or so, and now I've got to wait another 28 days or whatever. That's tough.
Yep.
Uh, but uh, but yeah, and yeah, it reminded me that Joe issue 6 comes out tomorrow. Have you been collecting the silent
Yep,
missions?
I have them. Yep.
I do too. Uh, I enjoyed the spirit one probably the most.
Yep.
Um,
I took a series of photographs from that episode, from that issue.
Sweet. Yeah, I enjoyed that one the most. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea,
Yeah.
but I'm
Yeah.
enjoying it. And the Jinx one,
I liked
I
it. I thought it was good.
it's fine. You know, the beachhead fine.
I
The
did a series of
artwork,
photos on that one too because of the night creepers. But yeah, I'm with you on the artwork.
yeah, the artwork is not my favorite.
Yeah.
Not my favorite. And 3 star, he has the spirit. He's got spirit.
He's
How
got the
about you?
spirit.
Oh no. Well, so did you guys hear the other day that there is a new Judge Dredd series coming to Amazon with Carl Urban,
Did you guys hear
evidently.
that? Did anybody hear that?
You know, I heard all about this. I first saw it, I think, on Instagram. Oh, I love it. Dunking the ball, baby. Dunking the ball. And then I saw this article on Cosmic Book News. You know
Yeah.
that site, Cosmic Book News. This was April 17th, early in the morning. Carl Urban returning in Dread series at Amazon from the Boys team. Now, who doesn't like the Boys,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
At least season one. You know, it's not true to the comic, but it has been entertaining.
Season one was solid. After that, it was garbage. But
Been a little up and down, I agree. But overall, a lot of people like it. Says, Urban was Dread back in 2012.
yeah.
You can watch it on Max now.
Yep.
And then, so there was talk of doing a Mega City One TV show, right?
Yeah.
And then in 2022, there was a rumor that there was a sequel to the Dread movie.
Yep.
And now it says that, hey, they're bringing him into Amazon, into the fold. Amazon's been gobbling up a bunch of IPs and trying to churn out some content, along with their Rings of Power hit series.
Well, since
And
they just fired Jennifer Sulky, you never know what's going to happen.
right. So we did see that story, Matthew. We did see that
Yeah.
story.
And my first reaction was probably the right one because I said, I don't believe this because Carl Urban would be the first person talking about it if it was moving forward.
Yes, and guess what? It was fake.
Yep. Fake news.
It it was not real. There is no Judge Dredd series with Carl Urban coming back to Amazon. Um, it's funny how things spread like wildfire. You know, the internet
Yep.
is always going to internet. And this one took a couple days. It took a couple days. It really sprang to life there for a minute.
Yeah.
But
And
this is not happening.
everybody that was running with it, I was like, oh, wait, I don't know about that. But the people that held off on talking about it waited to confirm with their sources, and everybody got the same confirmation. The guy
Right.
who owns the IP to Dread said, posted on Twitter or publicly, he was like, I haven't heard anything about this. Have you heard anything about this? I don't know anything about this. This ain't happening. And he
Yeah.
and Carl Urban disagree on how the character should be brought forward, and the use of the character. And this guy has blocked many a deal from actually happening for Carl. Even though in this post that he said that he would love to see Carl do this and this would be wonderful, but he doesn't
Yeah.
know anything about it. So these people may be talking about things, but this is a rumor until there's ink on a page, contracts are signed, and
Yeah,
until
man.
contracts are signed, you shouldn't be talking about it, even in rumor format, because it's like, oh, if you say they're in talks for it, okay, that's one thing. Or uh, Amazon is banting about the idea of doing this, that's another thing.
Right.
But you know,
Yeah, until negotiations, pen to paper, you definitely would have heard of a signing. This is kind of wishful thinking. I think
yeah, or somebody's idea to push the agenda forward, to push it back out there, to keep it
that's
in the
true.
zeitgeist.
That's true.
And I don't mind that because having this discussion is awesome because Carl wants to do it, and everybody wants Carl to do it because that movie was an awesome Dread movie, and 3 star, you need to see it. if you like Dread at all.
Yeah.
Lena Headley was in it,
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot all
and
about it.
they
About
and
her.
the drug slow mo, and they did some interesting effects with that. I thought that was pretty cool. But it's roughly based on one of the comics that was all about being in a lockdown city block, um, and going through this whole big bust and everything. And they could have done a lot with this, and they did it at the
Yes.
same. It came out about the same time as the Raid, and so everybody was comparing it to the Raid, because of how good that was, and people were saying this is really good like that too. So
Right. Man, I forgot about that too.
I mean the
Wow.
Stallone one has a place in my heart too, but for totally different reasons.
Yeah, but I think if you were a Dread fan, I think a lot of people, enjoyed the Carl Urban
Yeah.
take on it. And but yeah, wishful thinking. Not unlike the He-Man coming out, right? That's a real deal.
Yeah,
um
well, unfortunately, that one's apparently real. I didn't believe it, and I wasn't believing it, and then
uh,
set photos come out and
I'm
all
a little
other
worried
stuff, and I'm
about
like,
that one.
yeah, I don't know.
I am.
I know nothing about it, so I can't say one way or the other. It seems that they are doing filming on Earth again, with them in normal clothes, which I'm like,
Yes.
okay, that's the part that bugs me. Um, but
Why?
I don't
Why do we need? And this is not something we were planning on bringing up. It
no,
just the reason that I thought about it is because just stuff that almost is kind of just not even on the radar, and you haven't really that He-Man Master of the Universe. It's not like it's taking center stage, right?
right.
Like you'll hear a little bit of news here or there, but for me, I just don't understand why they would film on Earth, why they would do that. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
why we're gonna go there.
well, it's easy because people in Hollywood have no imagination because they're all corporate slaves at this point. And so they said, well, we have to connect to the audience. And the only way we can connect to the audience is show them something that's in their world, and then we transport them to the other world.
Sure,
And
I
that's
guess.
a trope, that's a Hollywood thing,
But have
they
confidence. To me, have
yeah,
confidence in your
yeah,
storytelling and world building.
yeah,
That's what I think.
yeah,
Build the world of Eternia up and make people believe it.
yeah,
Right? Like, God dang it. I don't know, man. They've already been down this road once. Like, don't
yeah,
make the same mistake again.
right.
But you're right. They'll transport. They won't take place on Earth the entire time. There's no way that can happen.
No,
Uh,
and from what I'm seeing, I don't know, like he's on Earth and then he gets, I mean, they're doing a Flash Gordon thing
yeah,
almost, or a
yeah,
Buck
yeah.
Rogers, right? Because he's on Earth, but he doesn't know who he really is, and
Right.
that's all. That's kind of what I've heard. I don't know if any of that's true or not, but that's what's been out there as
Yes.
speculation.
Yeah, no, that seems to be, but really, we really don't know
Yeah,
anything about it. Look, I'm curious about that one too. I am curious
yeah.
about that one. I would,
I want to see what happens.
I hope it's successful. I want that. Um,
You know how long did this movie's been in production, right?
oh God, it went. I remember watching a video or reading an article about the guy who actually really wrote like a great treatment and got phased out uh
When was that?
20 years ago.
Um,
15, 18 years ago,
I was
something
just saying
like
about
that.
15 because in 2012 John Chu was going to do it right after the very successful GI Joe Retaliation movie. He was going to do
Shit.
the Masters of the Universe movie.
Okay.
He was signed up to do that. They were moving forward with it, and then after Retaliation didn't do as well as planned, they canned the whole thing. And it was supposed to be a 30th anniversary project.
Well, there was a guy, I don't know, screenwriter or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and had kind of written out this whole treatment and ended up, I think, having to sue like a
Mm,
couple of people who took that treatment and then were trying to claim it as their own and make a He-Man movie.
right.
And so I think there was a lawsuit,
Yeah.
whatever, and it even set it further back or whatever. But basically, dude got screwed out of like any credit or anything, and spent like
Yeah.
2 years writing a treatment for it and everything. It's like,
Well,
damn.
that happens all the time. Like the movie
Yes, it
Frequency was
does.
stolen, right? That
Yeah,
entire movie
yeah,
was
it
stolen.
does. I wanted to comment something Bobby Wold said about Carl Urban though. Is talking about he doesn't complain like Pedro Pascal wearing a helmet. Well, folks, Pedro Pascal isn't wearing a helmet in his most recent show that's out on Max, The Last of Us season 2. He also isn't wearing a helmet in the Fantastic Four, but he
But he
is
is
wearing
wearing a helmet when John Wayne's kid is playing him.
he is wearing a helmet for the Mando and Grogu um, film that's coming out.
Mm,
Um, you heard me Sunday night talk a little bit about some of the stuff from Star Wars, right? They
yeah,
had the Star Wars celebration,
yeah.
and the Mando and Grogu thing probably seems to be the least interesting, if I had to say, just out of everything, even the animated stuff that they've got.
Right.
And do you actually think that Pedro Pascal is in costume
Nope.
on set?
I do not.
I don't either.
No. Wayne's been playing it for so long now. I mean, all of season 3, Pedro was never on set for season 3, ever.
Yeah.
Because it was always Wayne in the suit, right?
Right.
So you don't need to show his face, and in the movie, you certainly don't need to show his face. But it's a movie, but it's not really a movie. This is season 4. They just hacked it up like they did Moana. Okay, I mean,
It's got to be, but so I don't know how many of y'all saw the trailer. You and I discussed just a slight bit.
yeah,
There's a moment in the trailer where he just goes through an AT-AT like a hot knife through butter
yeah,
inside. And I just remember as a kid, I remember watching the scene with Luke and the snow speeder, right?
mm-hmm.
And how imposing these things were.
Yep,
And what's up, Tony? Tony's Figs, and how imposing these things were, how monstrous, and they had shielding, and it's like, man, oh my god, the AT-AT, right? My cousin had the toy, he had the AT-AT, and they were so badass. And I remember, this whole struggle, and Luke gets shot down. They're trying to use the tow cables, right? We got to use the tow cables on these things, right? We can't use the tow cables, wrap them around, take out a one or two. Luke gets shot down. He's got a cable up, lightsaber, chucks the grenade or thermal detonator, whatever inside,
yeah,
blows it up. The scene in the trailer that I saw before it got taken down, it just looked so uninspiring.
yeah,
Is that a good word for it?
yeah. That's probably the best word for it, because they're just trying to cash in on it and make their season 4, and there's just nothing. There's no heart in it. They're going to throw out member berries like Zeb from Rebels. Oh, look, Zeb from Rebels.
Right.
And they're going to throw in other people, Rosario Dawson or whoever else, and say, look, remember this person, and you're supposed to love it. And
Yeah,
I I think they're trying to save money or something. I don't know. Rather than make it a full season 4, they're just going to say, "Hey, let's do what we
right.
did with Moana and see if we can cash in on something that's worthwhile." Because they made money with Moana, that too, because it was the repurposed TV show.
But don't you think, and I'm sure in the chat, don't you guys think like baby Grogu, like that fad is gone? Am I right? Like that fad, that hysteria. Look, I'm sure chicks still will see a baby Grogu doll at Target. If you're there with your girlfriend or something, they're like, "Oh, it's so cute," but
And
like
you know what?
that
And you know
hysteria
what?
is gone.
And you know what? That's fine, because that character will always be there in season 1 of Mandalorian,
Yeah,
right? And always
right.
be there, and you'll always have that. But guess what? Characters change, characters grow. We like to see that growth if it makes sense for the character. We don't need to be trapped until you're in your mid 30s, early 40s, and then we want the characters trapped right there in their prime, and so they stay in their prime forever.
Yeah, the other thing for me though is what kind of title is Mandalorian and Grogu? Like that's not gonna excite
Look,
anybody.
they haven't had an inspired title ever at Disney, right? I mean, none of these titles are like they jump out of the screen at you or anything.
That's
You
true.
just you hear them and you're like, okay, okay, whatever. That tells me what it is
Right.
supposed to be, but it's not because whoever's name is in the title, the movie's not about them. Right. So this isn't going to be about Mandalorian. It may be about Grogu, but it's going to be about whatever else is
I
going on
think
in the
it's gonna be
story.
about a bunch of nothing.
It's yeah. Well,
Because
yeah, exactly.
originally people thought that it was going to tie together the Ahsoka series and like whatever, but they've announced Ahsoka season 2, so that's going to tie up its own shit. This isn't going to do anything, right? Like this is
Yeah.
just going to be like episode season 4, and it's just going to be kind of what the first couple 3 episodes or 3 seasons or whatever were about. I just can't see
Yeah.
anything really coming from this. I hope they don't, I hope they didn't spend a lot of money on it.
Yeah, I don't know. See, Disney, the corporate monster, is stuck in analysis by paralysis. They're making this stuff, and they said we have to continue to make stuff and draw people in for the next thing. So, in the process of doing that, they never tell a story. They never tell a complete story. They can't because it's always we got to build up for the next thing. We got to build up for the next thing and the next thing. No, you have to tell a story well so people will like it. And then you can tell more stories with those same characters. If you don't, then people are going to get played out because they're just being strung along. You know, the carrot, in front of you as you're
Right.
dangling the carrot to chase the horse, right? So
Yeah, Johnny Reno, the best Grogu scene was when the scout trooper beat him over the head. Jason Sudeikis, I think it was. There was
yeah, that was
um,
kind of funny.
it
I'm sorry.
was funny. You have to admit. But yeah, I just don't think the excitement level is here for this. I think that phase has kind of gone. They've missed it. I think they ruined it with season 3.
Yes,
I think Jack
absolutely.
Black and Lizzo making guest appearances was a bad way to go. I think they got away from what it should have truly been, which was a bounty hunter show.
Well, right, an underworld show, right? So they had the perfect ending in season 2. Grogu's off doing his thing. Now we can get on with the bounty hunter stuff.
No
But
kidding. No
but
doubt.
Kathleen Kennedy wouldn't stand for it. She said, "Look,
Well,
cash cow."
and they saw the popularity and the merchandise of the Grogu character,
Yeah,
and
but they got to
so
know that only lasts up to two maximum of 2 years. If you go back historically, that's all that these kind of fad toy lines last, right?
but see a company like that is too large to pivot.
Yeah,
They're too large to pivot,
yeah,
and they're too slow to react,
yep,
right? So like, oh gosh, we didn't think this little Yoda character would be so popular. Okay, now we need to spend 6 months because they didn't have any merch for it. So now
yeah.
we need to spend 6 months building merch and making merch and getting it out. And by the time you're in that cycle, it's already over
Yeah,
the way the world works now.
yeah.
But they're still in that cycle.
So
Um,
did you hear about Star Wars Celebration? Kathleen Kennedy couldn't even say his name. She kept calling him Baby Grogu or Baby
Baby
Yoda.
Yoda. Fuck,
And
everybody else does.
well, but you know what else? You also won't find those videos because every video with Kathleen Kennedy in it was pulled from the Star Wars website from Star Wars Celebration.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Yeah, Dreadnought. I'm with you. I think they severely damaged the Star Wars brand. And I think not only the next theatrical release, but it's may take a couple. People are gonna have to be brought back in.
Yep.
It's gonna have to take a couple successes to bring people back in. I firmly believe that. Um, and it's I mean it's kind of the state of it. I hate it because I said this I think on Sunday. I don't like the fact that Star Wars sucks ass.
Yeah.
Like I'm not happy about that. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't make me happy. I want it to be good.
Right.
I think everybody here wants it to be good. But when you've been burned and got your hopes up, now, um, you did watch the first how many minutes of Andor season 2?
I don't know, 10, 15, something like that.
Okay. So, Andor 3 episodes dropped today, right? Okay, season 2. I'm going to watch them after we're done. Now it'll be way too late for me to message you.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll be in Betty by then. But I'm gonna watch the first 3 episodes. I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna tell all you guys, Andor is the only thing that I personally have either any faith in or I'm excited about when it comes to Disney Star Wars at this point. That's the
Yeah.
only thing. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. Matthew, do you recommend it?
I do. And so here's the thing. People say it's a slow burn. I thought it was engaging the whole time. I enjoyed it. There's some hits
Yeah.
and misses that take place in the first season, but it's still it's worth a watch. Get through it because it's not. I mean, it is. If you want to call it a slow burn, it's a true slow burn. Unlike Daredevil: Born Again, which was a slow nothing. Um,
Man, yeah, we're gonna talk about that in a minute. Um, yeah, I just think Andor had very strong writing.
yeah.
Look, slow burn,
The,
whatever you
the
want to call it, I get it. But I thought the writing, I thought the dialogue, and I thought the acting from
yeah,
most everyone.
yeah, just about.
Diego Luna, no, he's not a leading man,
Yeah.
but and I know the show's about him, but man, there's some good performances.
Yeah.
There's some really good performances in that
The
that
the
first
the
season.
biggest problem that I have is that this was supposed to be like 4 seasons and they're cramming it into 3 episode chunks, to finish off the seasons. And
Yeah,
that makes it a little tougher of a deal that they
sure.
moviefied. They made mini movies essentially to finish up the storyline all the way up to Rogue One. Um, but I mean, if you tell the story well enough, that could be enough time to tell what you're trying to tell. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
I will say the one thing is, at least, I do have faith in the person who is kind of the overall
Yeah,
showrunner, right? Like Tony
yeah,
Gilroy,
yeah,
and his brother, and I have faith in him. I think he's competent,
yeah.
and so that's why I do have faith in the show. Um, yeah, there are moments where there's not a ton of action, but I think overall, that's about man. Let's face it, man. Out of all the Disney series, Marvel and otherwise, that's like one of the very handful
Yeah.
that if even that I can count that actually had competent writing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's
With a
like,
story that made logical, consistent sense that
yeah,
didn't, wasn't inconsistent from episode to episode like
right.
everything else.
Yeah.
3 Star makes a really good point here. I sleep 5 hours a night. I'll be getting up by the time you finish it. So I mean, you could message me.
Uh, I would like to say that I won't be going to bed that late, but I also would like to say that I could possibly be going to bed that late. Yeah, as sadly as it is. Dreadnought, I'm with you. I wish they'd have done the EU. I just don't have any
Yeah,
faith that they would have done it correctly. So I'm almost like, thank God they left it alone. But they have all the stories there to use. They have plenty of material. Kathleen Kennedy's the one that said that they don't have the material there.
yeah,
Yeah, and then turns around and then says, "Oh, well, we mined from this," but then they bastardize a
yeah.
story that
No, I
anybody who read any of the extended universe already knows,
yeah
characters and
the
otherwise.
the
Dash
Ahsoka
Rendar.
series. The Ahsoka series is going to make me so mad because
Ugh.
they're gonna dive deep into, well, actually, the uh Mando thing too, because they're gonna dive into Thrawn with all of it, and he is my favorite villain of all time, literarily, from Heir to the Empire, Timothy Zahn's
Oh,
books.
sure.
And I even don't mind the Disney Timothy Zahn Thrawn books that he wrote, but the original Heir to the Empire trilogy, and then the sequel that they did after that, the 2-part sequel,
Yeah.
those are some of the best character portraits that they've ever done in Star Wars, in my opinion. So
Yeah, they've mined some of that stuff and then changed the characters for their own. I get it, man. They got to
yep.
put their thumbprint on it. Yeah, Bobby, the Marva character, that turned into a memorial brick. It doesn't,
Yeah.
it doesn't get any better than that. But I will say, her speech in the last episode, I think it was the last episode, right, where she has the hologram speech, or she has the speech to the people in the city while the Empire's closing in. She was supposed to like cuss in that. They had actually did filmed her. There's a line where I can't remember exactly what it is, but she drops an F bomb,
Oh yeah.
and it would have been in Star Wars
Yeah.
canon,
I don't know if I care for that very
and
much, but
they pulled it out. They
yeah.
pulled it out. Yeah, they pulled it out. But supposedly, yeah, she dropped this F bomb and
Yeah.
just was like, don't give in, or keep fighting these. It was something like that. Keep fighting
Yeah.
these fuckers or something. I don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, Darth Bane. I mean,
Darth Bane trilogy is
come on with
awesome.
it. Come
And I
on
will
with
tell
it.
you, Triple D, Daredevil Dave, whatever. I like Daredevil Dave better, but whatever. Um, Thrawn, what got you back into Star Wars again? I will tell you that that book reignited my passion for Star Wars, for reading, for a lot of that stuff.
It's
So
great.
that trilogy, that character in particular, really did good stuff for me. So that's
No,
why I have such a passion for him.
No, I get it, and that's a lot of people, and I think that's why a lot of people are disappointed with the Thrawn character in the
Yeah.
live action.
Yeah.
Very disappointed with him.
I like the actor just fine, but he's
Yeah,
not.
no, of course.
It's the
course.
writing and the fact that he's a little out of shape.
Yeah, 3-star. It is funny whenever you get reminded of like how many of those EU books, like you just forget. I mean,
Yeah.
even like I'd go to a friend's in 1986 or something like that, 87, and they'd have some paperbacks there, Han Solo Adventures, or
Those
Han
books
and
were so bad, but they were
and
good.
right, and it's like, well, damn, there's all these books, and then you're reminded of how many, right? How
Yeah.
many, and so in a way, I can understand wanting to rein some of that stuff in, because when it kind of gets a little out of control. So I get it, but also, Bobby, yeah, talking about not wanting to pay people for those, those stories. That's a lot of the reason why they cherry pick things and change characters, so that they can kind of call in their own, change
Yeah.
the name, combine a couple characters into one character.
Yeah.
You name it. I mean, there's a lot there,
Yep.
for sure. Um, and yes, Star Wars using Drunk 3PO and Gina Carano's "Welcome to the Rebellion." Are they using that phrase? Did you see that?
Hey, it's it was the phrase that was set
I'd be
up for.
shocked.
Well, so it was a phrase that was actually set up by Disney for the program that they were working with. Gina Carano was going to flagship before Kathleen Kennedy said, "No, we want to get rid of her." But the whole what was it called? It was all about the rebel troopers, and basically an underworld kind of story about them, and how Gina kind of
Oh, the oh God,
rebel commandos, or was it rebel commandos, or
no. This is
uh,
that you know what? Right as I was listening to you talk about it,
yeah.
I started thinking about it, and
Yep.
then I'm like,
It
oh
was
yeah,
gone.
that canceled series.
Yeah.
Um, Rangers of the New
Rangers of the New
Republic.
Republic. Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yes,
Yep. Thank you.
exactly.
Yep.
Yep.
Chat always for the win.
Damn. Chat for the win. Yeah, no kidding. The internet. Look, it'll always be right.
Yeah.
It always wins,
And
I
wrong
guess.
at the same
That's
time.
true. It always wins. So let's touch a little bit upon Daredevil Born Again,
All
because
right.
I didn't really get your thoughts on the season finale. I do know a few people in here, their thoughts on the season finale.
Yeah.
Um, what what were your takeaways after getting through season one of the Daredevil Born Again? And
Yeah.
please don't just dance around. It's spoilers is
Okay.
fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't dance around it. Don't,
Yeah.
you tell me, use some examples if you want, whatever.
Yeah. So the episodes got better as they went along. The last three were probably, most people would probably consider them the best of the season. Um, if you just think about it for a second, there's so many holes in it. It's wasted potential. The best thing I can say about this show is it's wasted potential. You had great actors, you had great characters, you had great setup, and you blew it all. And on top of it, you didn't even set up the fact that Foggy's not dead. Um, you mentioned one thing in passing, and you think that's going to be enough, right? But you didn't really set up that Foggy's not dead, because he's not, and we all know he's not, because they wouldn't have brought him back for 5 minutes. Um, so he's going to be in the next part of it, most likely. Um, they wasted the characters. Muse could have been one of the most significant and loved villains, love to hate villains of the Marvel MCU, because of how brutal he is, how much like Hannibal Lecter in a lot of ways he is, how Matt's interaction with him would have been, if they had done it like the comic books. Instead, they made him an incel cuck who studied Taekwondo for 2 seconds and killed his teacher and became the most badass fighter in the planet, who can beat freaking Daredevil at hand-to-hand combat, which doesn't make a lick of sense. Not even if he's been not doing it for a year, and that doesn't make sense either. Where the hell has Kingpin been this whole time? It wasn't just a year that he was gone. He was in freaking prison. His wife gets all pissy with him because he was in jail, and then he escaped from jail and got shot in the face. Okay. I mean, the show doesn't make any sense. The characters don't make any sense. The storyline doesn't make any sense. Who the hell is Cherry? Nobody knows a freaking thing about Cherry. He's this guy that shows up and he's like Matt's best friend, and he's, his inroad and his conscious. Or is he a plant from Fisk the whole time? Right. And then you've got John Bernthal, God bless him. He shows up and repeats the shit that he did in the Netflix series. He repeats
Yes.
it again in this series. We're going over the same ground that we've already gone over, and then he bitches that he'll never be the victim as he's playing the fucking victim.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, you just, and then he finally cuts his greasy mop and nasty hair and gives himself the Jersey Shore look, which I talked about the other day. And
Polly D.
I
The
actually
situation.
sent Johnny Reno. He says, "What's a Jersey Shore look?" And so I sent him some pictures of the Jersey Shore look. He's laughed his ass off. Yeah, of course. Uh, you know, Wasted potential. Wasted potential. Having Karen come back in the last, episode or whatever was great. I love seeing her again, and their
Yeah.
interactions between the three of them I thought was great. But Matt and Frank were about ready to get it on, right there at the end as they're hugging each other out the window.
Well,
And how does Matt put his DNA all over a crime scene and nobody figure out who he is? Also, how does he see an artist's interpretation from paint or charcoal or whatever and interpret that and be able to know what that face is? That's not how art works. I'm sorry. Art is done with brushstrokes, and those brushstrokes are artistic and they mean something, but they mean something to people who can see them. To feel a brushstroke is not the same because you can't get the context because it's all done with color and light. That's how paintings work. That's how drawings and sketches work. Right? It's not imprint, right? And so he gets his DNA all over everything, and nobody notices.
Oh God, I love it. I absolutely love it because that's all true. And you know, going through just even the last episode, just going through it, it's like Punisher dives out the window. Does he know that Daredevil's gonna catch him? Like when they go grenade, and Punisher's the first one over the balcony. So is he just planning on diving down 4 stories? Or did he know that Daredevil was gonna, throw out
he
a
knows that
line
his lover Matt's gonna catch him, and they're gonna swing to safety.
I didn't understand why.
And he's gonna give him a little peck on the cheek, just like in Star Wars.
I don't understand why we spent the whole season like having this whole setup with Vanessa wanting to off her husband. She sends the tracksuit mafia guy to do it. Of course, then
But did she? Did she really? Did she just set him up from the beginning?
I don't, maybe, but Kingpin's little buddy, he ends up taking him out where he has a chance. Then we see that Bullseye is going to take him out. Matt jumps in front of the bullet, but then when the time comes and Kingpin, after that night, Kingpin's like, I know you were trying to have me killed. That's me, and then it's like, it's okay. It's like, what are you talking about? Like they and it's like, well, we couldn't take away her agency, whatever that means, right? So, but also the fiddle faddle thief.
Oh God, forget.
And the whole thing about
the entitled criminal.
They tried to make a statement on the criminal justice system.
And they did it horrible.
They absolutely made the exact opposite statement about the criminal justice system because of the character they employed to do it. Sabotaged their argument that, hey, we need to be locking up less people. And instead, it's like, no,
this guy needs to be taken out because
he's probably be in jail for a while.
He's a career criminal who makes fun of blind and handicapped people. So from the beginning, he's a dipshit, right? And you're supposed to have empathy for this. And this so-called psychiatrist who takes credit for killing Muse and saying, no one saved me, I saved myself. It's like, bullshit. You'd be freaking dead and hacked up on the floor if Daredevil hadn't jumped through that window.
So here's the deal, though. On top of that, though, then the word comes out from the mayor's office that the task force took the credit for it. So why she wouldn't say anything about that? She was as a matter of fact, when asked about what happened, and she talked about taking Muse out and shooting him, she claimed that Daredevil was there and they were just what was it? Having their fun, or they were just like whatever. And it's like, no, bitch, he was there to save you.
Yeah.
Like, and you're just lumping him in like, oh, well, he's just like Muse. It's like, what? And then it's like, I'm a woman. I took him out by myself.
They're little boys wearing masks.
Little boys wearing masks. And so that, like, that whole thing was like, no, so he was there to save you. Okay. Instead, though, they give the task force credit, and she doesn't say, no, that's not true because I saved myself. So that doesn't come up.
No. You know what else was fascinating?
What's that?
Bullseye getting put in General Pop. You know what that means? That
he was scared.
That Bullseye would rule that prison as soon as he was put in Gen Pop. Do you know why?
God.
Because he'd be killing anybody who even got close to him. If somebody tried to shank him, he'd use that weapon against him. If somebody smashed his face and he broke a tooth, well, we saw what happened if somebody smashed his face and broke his tooth. He'd kill him with it, right?
Yes.
You put Bullseye in Gen Pop, he's the king of the roost.
It was
It
it
didn't
was
make any sense.
and
And then
and
Matt getting all riled up to hit him. What?
yeah, well, so and one thing as far as the Muse character for 3 star, the thing of it is too is that in the comics he has like super powers, supernatural type
Yeah.
powers. He's imperceptible to Daredevil.
Yeah.
He is, and look, I'm not gonna lie and tell you guys, hey man, I read the comics and I know all about Muse. But I did go back and look up the character because I wanted to know about this character that I'm watching.
Yeah.
And so for them to basically turn him into this soy boy, I'm pissed because people can't see the real me, going to a therapist, which we already did in season 3 with Dex, with Bullseye, going
Hmm.
to a therapist and that whole back and forth, like, and but for them to literally, they could have, okay, think about this. The Muse could have been the overarching season long
Yep.
character,
Right.
and Foggy, Karen, Matt, maybe Foggy and Karen somehow get in danger because Muse, whatever, right?
Yeah.
He becomes, he likes Karen, and Karen is, the one that maybe gets kidnapped, right? Or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Like
Because Karen's listening because she's a reporter and she wants to hear the story. And
what
so,
they could have done with that.
yeah.
And then obviously the Kingpin stuff, you've got your A and B plots, however you want to work them.
Right.
And that would have been much more interesting. But instead, we get this kid who took Taekwondo from some guy for how long before he killed him? We don't even
No.
know. And then he literally can hang with Daredevil, who has fought multiple ninjas. Remember the Elektra scene
Yeah.
with them and trying to escape and like going upstairs and up and up and up to the rooftop?
Yep.
You mean to tell me this kid can hang with Daredevil because he took Taekwondo? And they show no powers in this show. He's just a regular schlup. And then I
Yeah.
love how when Daredevil, they overutilize the whole scream that he does, which is pictured right here,
Mm.
where all of a sudden in the middle of a fight, he's got to scream again.
Mm.
It's so, oh my God.
You remember the Netflix series when Matt and Frank were in that grotto together and they're running through the grotto and Frank keeps trying to shoot people and Matt keeps stopping him, right? He keeps,
Yes.
in the middle of the fight, he's stopping him. But when Matt and Frank are fighting together and Frank's doing the same thing,
Yes.
Matt can't stop him. He can't do shit to stop him from doing it, except for trying to ask him not to. Right. And, every
Yes.
time he tries to, he fails at stopping Frank from killing somebody. So who the fuck is this guy? Because it's not Daredevil.
Yeah. It was really frustrating to watch because we knew there were reshoots. We knew they got the original cast back. We knew that, yes, it's been several years, but because the original cast, especially Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, put up such a stink about the original script that they changed it. They went back, they reshot.
Well,
But
they only got to do that because of the strikes. But yeah,
yeah, but still, it's just a shame, and I hate it because as Gary, from Nerdrotic said, he was a sweet summer child. After rewatching the Netflix series, that I could say that I was too, until, ladies and gentlemen, and don't get it twisted, after the first episode, you and I smelled the stink on that shit.
yeah. I
We
mean,
did.
we could clearly see in the first episode where the delineation of writing is. What
You
was
knew
from the
it.
original show
So,
and what was from the rewrites. And I mean, you can see it's clear as day.
yes, I remember after episode 1, and
Oh
it was
man,
like, yep, nope, this ain't
nope.
it. This ain't it. And it took a little bit, and I get it. It took a little bit for people to watch and see, and it ended up turning out that way. And I hate it because I don't want that. I want it to be great, and it wasn't. I'm hoping season 2 they learn from their mistakes. They get rid of some of these ancillary characters that we don't know nor do we care about. But now that they're woven into the story, we're kind of stuck with them.
Yeah.
But Mr. Magnus, yes, you keep. we keep hanging out, man, people are going to start talking shit. You know, that's what people do. That's what the internet does. And Todd C is in his
What's
house.
up?
Give you a little bit of my falsetto. uh, what did you miss? Not much. A little Pedro Pascal, a little fake Carl Urban, Judge Dredd news, little Daredevil, little Daredevil eggs. Just that's about it.
Mm.
Yeah, 3 stars says mostly Pedro bashing. So
we weren't really bashing Pedro. It's just he's in a lot of projects right now. We were
he
just
is,
commenting on that.
and one of which we're gonna take a look at
Uh,
this part of the trailer.
so
So
I just got to say, when my wife watched the trailer,
yes, sir.
one of the first things that she said was, "That Johnny Storm is so mid. Well, how can you pick that as Johnny Storm? He's supposed to be like the ladies' man." And I said, "Not in this movie, sweetie.
Not in this movie.
Clearly he's too mid to be a ladies' man."
uh, I have some serious reservations about Fantastic Four. I love the look. I love the look. I love the retro futuristic kind of thing. I'm a sucker for that. There's some aesthetics that I really like. I dig steampunk stuff. I dig retro futuristic, like Fallout in a way. Like I'm a big Fallout fan, so like that kind of apocalyptic or future that's based off of 50s Americana, whatever. Like I
Yeah.
love that stuff. I'm a sucker for that stuff. So
Yeah.
I love the looks. I love the looks of this.
Yeah.
But there are a few things that really do have me concerned. And I'll try to kind of go through some of it. What are some of your concerns? And then I'm going to find a couple moments in this trailer to highlight.
I mean, my concerns are that trope of
That looks like shit.
strong pregnant women fighting in combat situations, which would kill the child.
Yeah.
You're gonna have this a whole girl boss thing, which the girl boss thing is not necessarily bad, but if you got to write it correctly, and Sue Storm is not the smartest person on the planet. Reed Richards is. Reed Richards is the smartest person probably in the galaxy, one of the smartest people in the galaxy for sure. And then he's going to be played by Pedro Pascal, who's going to be second fiddle to all of this. I like the 60s aesthetic as well. I hope that goes well with it. I like the fact that they're having a positive note, saying how everybody loves the Fantastic Four, which is just setting up a Scarlet Witch moment where these people are going to get shredded, right?
Man.
When
What? They're not able to protect everybody, so then all of a sudden everybody's like, "Y'all suck."
right, and so then what? What do you do? So this is not the MCU universe. This is an alternate universe, right? We already know that this is an alternate universe, and then
Right.
they bring us this Silver Surfer that's only been in like 4 issues of a comic book ever and doesn't have any major storylines that she's really a part of. You bring her in, and Sue Storm is the leader of the Fantastic Four, and then they're going to lose this battle and then get transported to the MCU universe, and then they're going to be the Fantastic Four for them. How is that going to work? You have one chance to make a first impression, and you're failing with this.
I'm just, I don't know, man. Ronnie Trickshot, what's cracking? Nothing. Just admiring myself in the reflection of my monitor. Hang on just a second. Okay. Sorry, I had to tamp down my eyebrows again. So,
Ronnie, did you get your Frosted Flakes this morning?
yeah, get them flakes. They fit in a thimble. All right. And I know down there your stuff is way more expensive than ours is, so I feel really bad for you guys. Number one, this shot right here, I'm sorry, but this head is too fucking small. Like I don't
Look,
even know what the fuck. I'm
man,
sorry. He got this
so
happening right here.
I was telling you before we started this, right? I watched the Michael Chiklis, Chris Evans Fantastic Four movies this weekend. I've got a special place for those, but what
Yeah.
really took me in was the fact that Silver Surfer and Thing were wearing suits. Those were actors in suits. And they did a really good job. They did an amazing job with it. And then they did CGI over some of the stuff, obviously the board and that kind of stuff. But Doug
Sure.
Jones was in a suit for
Yeah.
that character. Michael Chiklis was in a suit for that character. And it looks good. And now you're going to throw this at us? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but look, I mean, just look at that. Like, oh God, bless. Now,
He's not supposed to be handsome there, Pop.
yeah, well, I know, I'm like the head is really small for this body. I'm sorry. Like, I'm like, now
now I had a
this
science
scene is
professor in high
half a
school.
second long.
Yeah. I had a science professor, and his head was way too big for his body. Right? Proportionally from chin to the top of the head, it's supposed to be two ways.
Well,
From your chest, and his was like way out here from compared to where his shoulders were.
at least it wasn't like Bella Ramsey and fetal alcohol syndrome or something.
Well, I don't know. She's got an extra chromosome or something. I don't
There's
know.
something going on there. So look, I dig the outfits. I dig the costumes, right?
I dig
I'm
it.
digging it.
I dig it. They're only going to be in those for like 2 seconds, right?
You are correct. And then we get, our little kind of homemaking scene and all that.
Then this worries me that they're going to waste time on bullshit. I mean, this is not. This is not
matter.
It doesn't matter, and it's not even good character development.
Right.
It's not real character development.
We get Johnny Storm, you're late for dinner, and I do like the funny thing where he says, hey, we're going to be the best uncles, right?
But you won't be the best dad. No, you won't.
And you're going to be the best dad. Just kidding. We're going to be the best uncles. But really, I think, so all the lines go to Sue because this line right here.
Uncle's over.
We can do this. Nothing's going to change.
So Reed is kind of unsure of himself. He's unsure of the family, the team, right? And Sue's got to be the one to reassure. And then this is what I wanted to show everybody. Just pay attention to who it is that answers the call from this being from another universe.
Well, it's not just that. Who does the being from the other universe ask the question to?
Right. So just check this out.
Are you the protectors of this world?
Yes, we are.
Your planet is now marked for death.
So Sue, are you the protectors of this world? And it's Sue. And look at Reed.
He's like what?
He's
what
like,
are you saying? Where am I? Am I on Earth?
Honey, can you answer for me?
What are we doing here?
And I just find it like, look, I get it, folks. Like, you may say, oh, big deal, whatever. But that's the sneaky shit that they slip into a lot of stuff that we watch that nobody thinks anything about. It's no big deal.
No big deal.
But this is their way of emasculation in a way. This is a humiliation ritual, as we'll see with The Last of Us Season 2 or the Last of Us 2 game with Joel as a humiliation ritual for the male. And again, it's just one of those things that you see it, and once you see it in a lot of stuff, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
And throughout this trailer, it's just one instance kind of after another.
There is precedent for the female Silver Surfer from Earth X in an alternate universe that Norrin Rad's lover is Silver Surfer for 4 whole issues at the end of the series.
Right.
She does exist in this. So this tells you this isn't the real world. This is an alternate universe. What drives me nuts is the fact that Norrin Rad has got decades of really good storytelling. You've got Mobius, you've got a whole bunch of people that tell really good Silver Surfer stories.
Right.
And now you've switched to this character who's got 4 issues of a comic book that she's in with a meh storyline, right? So you have one chance to make a first impression, and this is your Silver Surfer.
I'm with you, and let's not kid ourselves. I do think that if you are trying to appeal to, because Fantastic Four fans, like let's be real here, folks. If you're into the Fantastic Four, if you're then you're either hardcore or you don't know a whole lot about them. Would that be fair to say? Like, you're
Yeah.
probably not a casual reader of the Fantastic Four. It's either you love the concept, you've
Yep.
read them comics, or you're kind of like, yeah, I know the Fantastic Four are. I know the names, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know any of the lore. I didn't read much about them. So it's one or the other. So if you're trying to capture some of those people that are like, hell yeah, man, they're going to do it again, man. They're going to get it right this time. And then you're presented with a female Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
And on top of it, like, I don't know what this is. Like, I don't know what this CGI is. Like,
This is mid 90s CGI.
like, it does not
I mean,
look
it's T2
good.
CGI.
Right. Yeah. And Dreadnought K6 says, hey, female Silver Surfer, hard pass, right? And Mr. Magus, say, hey, woke shit. I mean,
the problem is that they had a female herald that they could have used who actually has storylines, and Frankie, and they could have done that. But it doesn't mix well with Johnny Storm because she's like a fire thing, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I think if you're trying to draw on those people and you're like, hey, trust us with this trust
Frankie,
us with this.
Mr. Magus, exactly.
Yeah. Trust us with this franchise. We're going to knock it out of the park for you. And then, you like you said, there's probably going to be a little bit of filler in this, right?
Yeah.
Right. There's going to be some filler with some of the home scenes. And I get it. They're going to say, hey, this is building up their family. The thing of it is, folks, this movie's skipping over the origin. And I want to say, hey, to Menjoza, what's going on, man?
What's
Good
up?
to see you always. So they're skipping over the origin. They're going to give it to you like at the beginning of this trailer. And the reason I don't want to play it because I get dinged every time, practically every stream, it seems like. But at the beginning, they have this talk show host, and he's like, hey, folks, you know them. You know what they did for us. These folks went to outer space, and they came. So they're giving you the origin story, and they're going to wrap it up real quick, right? And so do we need to see the Thing tasting spaghetti sauce while the little robot floats around? And, maybe it's only a minute and a half scene, and there's a little exposition here and there. But, I'm with you. I wonder if there's going to be a lot of filler and then not enough of the suits. A lot of dialogue between Sue and Reed and whether they can do this or
Sue
not.
And everyone else.
Well, that's true. G.I. Jetman is in the house. What's up, G.I. Jetman?
Yep.
Says she's woke, female surfer in the comics. Yep.
We were talking about that. Ronnie, I got to say, I mean, this is why it's so ridiculous that Sue would cheat on Reed with Namor, because I mean, who wants to?
Gosh.
Seriously, that's too much fishy stuff.
There's already enough.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yes, no. She is in the comics. It's just it's only like four of them.
I mean, she's on Earth X and 4 issues at the end of a comic book run or series. It's fine. It's whatever, but this is not the way you come out of the gate. You got to come out of the gate with your big ones, the ones that everybody knows, the stories that they love, and that leads to potential because you tell one good story with that character from the comic books or from something else that people are familiar with, and then people are hooked because they're like, what are they going to tell next? Which story are they going to tell next with this character? Before you jump into these ancillary background, minuscule characters that hardly ever have a run, have books that have been canceled since the beginning of time, because they don't ever sell. But you want to take these poorly written characters in the comic books and put them on screen first. Doesn't make sense.
And I think, just the reason I'm saying is just looking at it from just a pure standpoint of like, we need to get people on board and we need to get these hardcore Fantastic Four fans to believe in us.
Yes.
So that's where you do the fan service.
Well, but this comes back to what I said earlier about the corporate lack of creativity and lack of understanding of anything, because they're like, we need to bring in new audiences to this. It's like, no, you need to satiate the original audiences, because if you satiate the original audiences, they're going to tell their friends, and then they're going to tell their friends, and then they're going to tell their friends who know nothing about this stuff, and then they're going to come in. That's how you grow a fan base.
I mean, look,
is that you play to the base and you build that base, and then the
Right.
base comes out, and then they draw in more people. If you shoot for the outliers every time, you're going to miss, because those people aren't interested in it. They don't give a shit about it. And they're just going to talk about, oh, look at this thing, but they're never going to pay to see it. They're never going to buy the merchandise. They're never going to go pay to see the movie. They're never going to
Right.
be involved in the fandom because they don't give a fuck.
Well, and that's where you see article after article after article when this movie comes out, and you're going to see it in every one, Deadline and Hollywood Reporter and
Toxic
Variety.
comic
and
book fans.
No, well, you're going to see that. You're definitely going to see that headline. But the headline you're going to see the most is, female Silver Surfer rocks it, and shows the boys how it's done, or like headlines that only focus on that aspect, right? It's like, this is a moment all women can be proud of. And it's like, is it really?
Is it?
There's a
Is it really?
female Silver Surfer, but you'll see those. They'll focus on that. They're not going to focus on the character. Look, in this movie, the character could be fine, and it could serve a great purpose. But everything you're going to read has nothing to do with that. Everything you will read will have to do with only it being a female, and showing the chuds out there that they don't need no man Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
Right. That's what you're going to read. And it's really disingenuous, to me. But
Yeah.
look, that's the direction they went. They obviously, Disney is going to definitely do Disney, and that's fine, So we'll see if they can make this a good movie that brings people to the theater. I just fear that it's not going to get enough attention to even make a blip, and that's just me. And yeah, I was thinking about the Galactus part too.
I think Galactus looks great. I think
Ronnie-
they're doing Galactus right by that, because they took the HasLab that they did and said, "Hey, let's put that in the movie." Like,
Right. Now, Ronnie, I would say that the Things thing probably is always.
Yeah.
Always.
Internally, he still has organs. Externally,
yeah.
he's all
Look,
rock.
Internally, it's like getting fried cheese sticks at TGI Fridays. Think of it that way. Dreadnought says, would it make more sense to do an origin film on Phantom? Well,
No,
I think they just
actually
everybody, most people know the origin that
Yeah.
are going to be interested
Well,
in this movie.
It
just
doesn't.
me.
It doesn't matter. I don't generally like origin films. I like to be thrown in the middle of the story, and then we figure out what we need to figure out as we go along. The other stuff doesn't matter.
Right.
Then you can go back and tell the origin story, sure.
Right.
But starting off telling the origin story, not necessarily the best idea. Sometimes you just got to jump in and tell a story.
Well, I think
first.
it's like Spider-Man. I think it's like Batman. I mean, do
Well,
any of us need to see Batman in the alley with the pearls hitting the ground as a young Bruce Wayne is like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I can't. Who's the killer? Is it Joker? Do we need to see Spider-Man bit by a fucking spider again? Like, do we need to see Uncle Ben shot by the guy who was running down the street? Right. And we don't really need. I mean, God, those things are in the public pantheon of great stories, that everybody knows. Now, I'm not saying everybody knows the Fantastic Four origin, but I would dare say most people that are interested in this movie do.
Yeah.
Trying to get your quote unquote normie to this movie, that's going to happen if the word of mouth about this movie from the nerds is like, no, you've got to see it.
Yeah.
This isn't Marvel 2017,
Right.
where everybody and anybody's grandmother is going to watch, Chris Evans,
Right.
or Robert Downey Jr. This is not that Marvel now. This is a very much scaled down Marvel fan base, because a lot of those people have moved on and they ain't coming back.
Right.
you
Well,
know?
some of them will come back because they're going to pay them the right amount of money. So
I mean, Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, 3-star. You know, and I know, I think we talked about a little bit about you wanting to see it, and I'm with you to a certain extent about the female Silver Surfer, but yeah, they've kind of gotten away from the fans the last 5 years almost,
Yeah.
and they need to kind of get back to them.
Yep.
You know, and yeah, human, this is worse than making Human Torch black, and that's the thing. You actually had a great,
Whatever.
but you had a great actor
Yeah.
in Michael B. Jordan.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it was like, yeah, we're gonna make a shit film. It's a shame, you know.
I
Um,
believe we do know who John Malkovich is playing G.I. Jetman, but he's in the trailer. I can't think of who it is off the top of my head though.
you're also gonna see Sue step up, take command, Mr. Magus. That is
Yeah.
absolutely 100%. That is 100% what's gonna happen, but without a doubt. She is going to be the one in control. Reed is going to defer to her
Oh
often.
yeah.
It's going to happen, and then we're gonna get the whole thing. Yeah, she's a badass pregnant bitch who can beat somebody up. Like some of that shit. You already know it. It's coming. I mean, it's coming. Yeah, Galactus being a cloud. I don't know.
Red
It's
Red Ghost. That's who John Malkovich is playing.
okay. Okay. Um, and I look. I don't know much about that character. I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, GI Jetman. There you go. At this point, all we need is a quick flashback origins. I think that's what they're going to do in this film for sure. And it is kind of somewhat a verbal and just talk show guy saying, "Hey, this is what's up. This is what's up. This is our little exposition dump, and get right to it." And I think that's all it's going to be. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, you said Red Ghost. Is that
Yeah.
it? Red Ghost?
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
what. Yeah.
character that I don't know anything about. That'll be new
Yeah.
to
I don't
me.
either.
So,
He's a Russian. And he fought Fantastic Four before fighting other people. That a
okay.
Soviet. He's a Soviet Russian guy. Whatever.
Yeah. Johnny Storm getting his ass kicked back down to earth and by the Silver Surfer. Reed
Gee, we haven't seen
apologizing.
that. Wait a minute. We did see that in a previous Chris Evans
Yes.
movie.
But Reed apologized for stretching the bounds of space.
Stretching.
Yeah, well,
Stretching the bow.
he stretched the bounds of Sue. That's why she's in the situation she's in. Again, I love the
I mean, he
outfits.
could be
I'm
hard at
digging it.
work while he's doing that at the same time. I mean, just
That well, it's kind of like Doctor Manhattan, isn't it?
it kind of is.
Oh my God. There you go. There you go, 3-star. Get you a good look at a little bit of that booty. A little booty kind of side front booty, side booty thing.
She ain't got much, so
Oh my God. Oh my God. Anyway, this scene right here
oh
is
man.
quite,
No music, no music, no music.
Oh, just
Hey,
two
look,
notes.
that is the first time that we see
What?
stretching.
Yes, look at that shit, dude. I'm sorry. Okay, okay. That's
The
cool.
CGI has gotten worse and worse. I don't get it.
I don't understand. Well,
She's
thank you.
definitely not Sydney.
Now, unfortunately for Pedro, he couldn't protect himself in last night's Last of Us season 2, episode 2, because
Nope.
Joel got
It's
got his
funny.
head bashed in by a 7-iron, and then it got broke off and stabbed him in the neck.
What's funny?
What's that?
To me, the funniest thing about the whole thing is the people that are like shocked and awed and posting these comments and going off on it and said, "Did you not pay attention to the criticism from the game, from the part 2 of the game?" Because this was the whole crux of the whole thing. This story was shit in The Last of Us 2.
Oh shit. Yeah, look, Mendoza. It was good until Sue's baby is orange and rocky. Uh-oh.
Hey, you know what? I wonder if they're going to do the diverse handicapped woman in the movie or not.
Are you talking about Spider-Man in a wheelchair?
No,
Spider-Woman in a wheelchair?
I'm talking about Ben Grimm's girlfriend.
Oh God. Oh no.
They
Stop
have
it.
to, right? They
Stop
have to
it.
check all the boxes.
Stop it.
She's got to be in it, right?
Wow.
I mean, that's comic book. That's
I
legit.
guess. Yeah, I guess. I don't wow, man. Oh my God. I don't know. That's great. Uh yeah, G.I. Jetman, I think me and Matthew somewhat there's certain parts of Daredevil's finale that we both I think there are parts that are good that I did
Yeah,
enjoy.
yeah.
I think unfortunately what came before it was not so good, but I could see where people are hyped for next season. I could see that. I myself still I need more. I need more, and it just wasn't
So
it.
here's my problem. I understand. We talked about this a little while ago about the build up, about trying to build it to the next thing. Yeah, yeah. It's supposed to be 1960 CGI. That's right. Exactly. Uh, how you're trying to build it to the next thing, but they can't tell a complete story. They haven't been able to tell a complete story in so long that it's so frustrating to get to the end of a season and not have a resolution, to not have an
Something.
ending,
Yeah.
something to say, oh,
Yeah.
yes, we have this now.
Right.
And then where do we go from here? That's the problem with their storytelling. There's never an end to it. And
I'm with you. I'm
to
with
a
you.
degree, you never do have an end, right? Because everybody continues on until whatever. But you have to have arcs. You have to have, okay, we're going to go from point A to point B, right? And in this, we went from point A and we haven't left point A. And so there's no story. There's nothing that's happened yet. We're waiting for something to happen, and it
You
hasn't
know,
happened.
yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, it's there's a lot of unsatisfactory non-resolution that
Yeah,
that happened, and I think that for a lot of people it's like walking out of a movie that doesn't have a happy ending. It feels weird.
yeah,
I mean, it's just something we become accustomed to. And so you have 9 episodes and you don't have any resolution to like
nothing,
part of your plot, and it just continues
nothing.
on. And then you somewhat kind of feel a little cheated
Yeah, I
because it's
mean,
like,
seriously,
okay, now I've got to spend another 9 episodes. If it were
exactly.
good, if it were good, I wouldn't mind spending that 9 episodes.
We
Another nine
have
episodes.
zero resolution to Foggy's death. We have zero resolution to Matt, going off to be this lawyer and then coming back, and Karen leaving, and then all of a sudden she comes back. We have no resolution to this masked vigilante that was going around slaughtering 60 people.
Yes.
60
Yes.
people and using their
Yeah,
blood
no,
in
and it
his
could have been
paint.
that's only the 60 that they know of. Muse could have
60 that they
killed
know of. That's more than any other serial killer that's
and
famous
they
on this planet.
yes.
Okay, right. And so this is the most prolific serial killer of all time,
Correct.
right? And nobody's interested in that story at all. Nobody's interested in the victims of that story. Nobody wants to tell the whole story about that. We have no resolution to this psychiatrist and her rise to power, right? Because now she's working for the kingpin. Is she really working for the kingpin? Is she really working for Matt? Or is she like thrown all that away because Matt's so disconnected and she wants to work with the kingpin to stop these vigilantes because she hates vigilantes so much, and you get nothing. Kingpin is still mayor.
She
The
may
the,
have
the
her own
citywide
agenda. She
she
could have her
right.
own agenda
Yeah,
in
she
all
does
this,
clearly,
right?
and she's going to try and manipulate things until she offs herself. But that's going to happen later.
I
No
don't know.
resolution to the kingpin shutting down the electricity in the whole city and gaining control of the police department and killing the commissioner
Th-
to further his own agenda of saying we want
Oh, that was
transparency
brutal.
and we want to stop
Brutal.
vigilantes, but I'm going to create this entire vigilante force to go out there and stop criminals from being vigilantes, but they're vigilantes. Oh man.
Yeah, there there's there's so much and what I would need to do, and I kind of did on Sunday a little bit, scrub through the episode, but it's almost like scene to scene, and I think it's hard because trying to gather your thoughts, right? You watch everything, you try to gather your thoughts, and there's certain things that you're gonna miss, and
Yeah.
it's sometimes it's hard to go over 9 episodes and think about all the little things that you thought of. But even in that last episode, scene to scene, there are things that I could pick out and end up trying to figure out kind of what's nonsensical, what are your character motivations, and there's a lot there. And it requires, folks, it's called EFAPPing, every frame a pause.
Yeah.
Every frame a pause. It's literally, you could go through a 50-minute episode of Daredevil and it might take you 5 hours.
Right.
Because you literally go scene to scene, possibly frame to frame, and you break down character motivations, what you're seeing on screen, and it could take you 4 or 5 hours to literally break down a 50-minute episode of a show.
Yep.
And to me, I love that kind of breakdown, but I know that's not for everyone.
Yeah.
And I know most people can't hang with that. But I do love watching streams like that break down episode by episode, sometimes 3. It could be literally could be 5 or 6 hour stream.
Yeah.
Real quick, speaking of Last of Us, Dreadnought K6, didn't cast Abby properly.
No.
In the game, she was
because you can't find anybody like that because they don't exist.
Exactly. She was extremely. They do exist. But in a post-zombie apocalyptic world, I find it extremely difficult.
There's no way you could do that.
To find, women that, I'm not saying it's not possible.
And surgeries and
right. and so, I agree with you, Dreadnought, that they kind of shot down the whole narrative and thing that they wanted to promote and prop up from the second game. In this series, they've taken Abby, the character that kills Joel, and she is like 5 feet tall, and she weighs like 95 pounds.
Ronnie, I say you got to go back in time to find really good entertainment. Modern entertainment isn't that good, but the stuff that is good, we'll tell you about. You got Godzilla -1. You've got the King of Kings was good. You've got the Accountant 2 that's coming out.
Penguin.
You've got the Penguin.
Penguin.
You've got the first 2 seasons of House of the Dragon. You've got a lot of stuff.
I mean, we could go back to Better Call Saul. I mean, obviously we've all heard of the big ones. Yep. There's shows out there that I haven't even got a chance to watch.
Yep.
Succession, is one of them that I haven't gotten a chance to really tune into. There's only so much time in the day, but no, I look. My thing is I want stuff to be good. I want stories to be captivating and gripping, and I'm hoping that we get back to having writers, and look, Ronnie, I'm gonna tell you something. This is just the God's honest truth. A lot of the people who wrote a lot of the gripping television and a lot of the gripping scripts and movies, screenplays and stuff like that. Well, unfortunately, from 2020 till now, they kind of all got run out of Hollywood because they're white, pale, and stale.
Yep.
And that's just the truth of it. That there were a lot of people who wrote a lot of quality, good material, but because they are the wrong color now, because they are the wrong age now, they have been run out of Hollywood. And what you're going to see is a lot of lawsuits moving forward from people wrongfully terminated that were shoved out of a position they had for 30 years. A lot of the Imagineers at Disney, the people who did the animation.
Yep.
Right? I mean, dude, it was an epidemic in the last 4 years. A lot of these people got run out of Hollywood, and people got promoted in their place who are not qualified. And my point to that is that there is a direct correlation between the quality of scripts and written things you're getting in Hollywood and instead of a meritocracy.
Yep. So I will tell you,
it's a different story, and that's just the truth.
I will tell you that if this Gina Carano thing plays out like we all think it's going to play out, then there are going to be a ton of lawsuits against Warner Brothers and Disney for their discrimination practices, and it's not going to go well for them. G.I. Jetman, The Penguin is an amazing show. It is an
Oh,
amazing crime
dude.
drama.
Whoa.
You
That
you
show is
you should
fantastic.
totally watch it, and you can make it separate from everything else if you want.
100%. 100%.
And it doesn't matter. It is an origin story of the Penguin, or it is a Penguin story early on in his career that I think that you would enjoy because it is very well written.
I gotta say that is one that is roundly beloved.
Yeah.
That series was. I got people at work that don't give a shit about superheroes and nerd shit and GI Joe. They don't care, but they've come to me and they've been like, "Holy shit!" Like, damn,
So
that was good.
so
You know, like, wow.
this is how I get people in, right?
Wild.
Is I tell people, you want something quality to watch, go watch Tulsa King and tell me what you think. If you like Tulsa King, I've got this other show called Landman. Tell me what you think about Landman. You like Landman? Okay, go watch Penguin. And then they're like, holy crap, these shows are amazing.
Yeah,
you keep telling me to watch this amazing stuff. Give me more.
Yeah, Mr.
And then I can
Magus
go
has
all
it
down
too.
the-
That the ending, like, you know, justice for Vic, right?
Yeah.
You're like, are you
Yeah.
kidding me? Did
No
this really
kidding.
happen? Like, oh my God, that will piss you off. It's like, no.
And what's even
way.
better is that, you know, I hope they never do a season 2. But if they would do a season 2, Victor has to come back as Victor Zaz,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
He has to, right?
Yep.
Because he's got
I
the
wish.
scars now.
It's not gonna
And then
happen.
I know. But
Not
that's the
gonna
way
happen.
you would do a season 2 is you would
Yeah.
bring Zaz back into it
Yeah,
as
I'm with you.
this other crime guy coming through. So
Yeah.
that'd be fun. But anyway.
Yeah. No, I'm with you for sure. But yeah, no, the ending pissed me off too. But roundly beloved. I would dare say probably going to be up for some awards. I would think. But
I should
yeah,
hope
no,
so.
Yeah, it was pretty damn good. You know, and see the thing about it is
Reacher,
like
Reacher was awesome.
yeah, Reacher. I tried to get into the Arrowverse back in the day, but it was too CW for me. It was a little too much.
And I will tell
of
you,
that for me.
the first 2 seasons of Flash and Arrow are really good. After that, that's going to be how much of the CW you can tolerate.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to bring
get
back Grimm apparently, and I loved Grimm back in the day. But I will tell you,
Yeah,
that
Grimm was pretty wild.
that show was made in Portland by people who live in Portland. And that show or whatever they bring back will be nothing like the show that we watched back then.
Right.
It will be so infused with identity politics and everything else. They won't be able to let it go.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then they're going to tie it into Supernatural and all that other stuff. So
see,
they're going to ruin the nostalgia that we have for that show. So.
and Todd C, he thought Grimm was gay. Oh, wait, no, Ben Grimm, not the Grimm you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Is that in the comics? I've heard a little bit about that rumblings for this movie that, like, I've even read an article or two about Ben Grimm and that, you know, like the whole scene where he's tasting the you know, he's cooking and all this stuff, and I think it's wishful thinking on some very
think it's wishful
hopeful
thinking.
people.
I don't think that they would go there because they would blow that opportunity of having the black blind woman be the person that is the only person who loves Ben Grimm. But anyway,
Mr. Magus liked some Tulsa King. He was it's a good good.
I'm not gonna try and prove you wrong. I mean, I love Rocky, but you know, I love what's his name, Demolition Man.
Yeah, and
John
you know,
Spartan.
So 3-star. I'm guessing that you weren't quite as in loving season 2 on Tulsa King, and I haven't really talked to him about. I actually haven't talked to him about it. We talked a little bit about season 1, but I haven't really talked about season 2 with 3-star. But he's not too crazy about it. Todd C says Legends of Tomorrow was okay for a while.
It was okay for a while, and then unfortunately Todd C brings it up there. When Constantine came back, Matt Ryan's show on NBC was amazing. When they brought him back for Legends, he was not the same character in any way, shape, or form. And that show went right off a cliff after that point.
And G.I. Jetman says, yeah, Constantine, good show. They canceled it.
Yeah,
What
it was a great show. It was a great
what
show.
was
It was on NBC. That was its biggest
okay?
problem.
That's right.
So
Yes.
it got canceled because it was on
Yes.
one of the major networks, and they
Yep.
can't sustain that kind of viewership, even though it was a good show and it had quality viewership. It's the same thing that happened to Carl Urban's leading role in Almost Human, which was another amazing show that
I
got
forgot
canceled
about I forgot about that.
and canned, and everybody's wanting it to come back, and they're trying to revive it. And I actually got a survey on the WB Insiders thing that
Huh.
actually asked me about that in particular. I said, well, bring back Carl Urban, bring back the show, and start, pick up where you left off for years later. But that Constantine NBC show was really good, and I can't say enough good things about that one either.
Mr. Magus is ready to find 3-star and pull his movie card. Pull that for season 2 of Tulsa King. I'll be honest with you, straight up, I have not seen all. I have not seen probably most of season 2. That's for sure.
Oh man, it gets
Yeah.
good. I
I
mean,
mean, and
you
well,
got
and,
Frank
and
Grillo coming in there to tear up house.
yeah, I know. It's just like I said, there's only so many hours in the day, right? It's like trying to, fit in what you can. But like tonight, as soon as I get done, I'm gonna bang out 3 hours of Andor, right? So I got my work cut out for me. Yeah, Almost Human was good. Ronnie Trickshot says Carl Urban is Australian, and they claim them all. I hope you do. I mean, shit.
And then you'll need your Frosted Flakes to go with it.
Shit. Dreadnought, I am downloading Oblivion Remaster as we speak. I actually had to pause it to do the show because I didn't want my internet or I didn't want my computer to bog down. But I'm 92% complete with the Oblivion Remaster on my PC, and I can't wait to fire it up. I thought about doing a game stream on Oblivion. I might end up doing that. Doing some live streams and playing Oblivion. So maybe I'll have a little Pop Blender game.
Then you're going to turn into a game channel, and then you'll get all the money.
Oh yeah. Everybody wants to watch a 50-year-old gamer.
Have you seen Az's and Mahler's streams? I know Mahler's not that old, but have you seen their gaming streams? They get a ton of money.
Oh, no, I know. But they're also very well established. So Blueprints is a great game I recommend for everybody. If you are a gamer, download it. It's on Game Pass. It's free on Game Pass. Of course, you have to pay for Game Pass.
Oh,
it's called Blueprints, and it's a fun game.
You heard about that, right?
So I have not yet. I tried to watch the beginning of Az's stream. I didn't see it. Type 1 and Type 2 body. I'm sure they also have a pronoun selection on Oblivion for a game that came out 20 years ago. Got to throw that in there. I'm sure they've got all the usual suspects. There's probably no ass characters. All the characters have no ass. The booby slider is probably like, from Abby from last night's Last of Us episode, if you've seen screenshots. Yeah.
I saw a mildly
you talking about diabetes. Sorry, I just saw that. G.I. Jetman, you talking about diabetes. I'm like, maybe shit. I didn't even know till I had to sit. Oh, okay. No, I now know what Giraffe is talking about. Giraffe, good to see you.
I saw a mildly funny meme pop up as I was scrolling through stuff today, and it's like it showed a picture of what's her name from Last of Us 2 and Rachel Zegler, and put them on a thing next to each other and said, I miss Harvey Weinstein sometimes.
Oh my God.
It's like this shit wouldn't have happened under him.
Dreadnought K6. No, I'm not talking about Asmongold. I'm talking about Az heel versus Babyface.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a guy named Az heel versus Babyface. Funny Brit. Really good guy, man.
Yeah.
Totsy, hadn't talked about Cold Slither. We're going to talk about some G.I. Joe, though, but hadn't talked about Cold Slither. Was there a new video that came out today that I'm unaware of? Am I missing something?
I mean, I saw the one that came out like a month ago.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
But
Did
no,
they speed it up at all? Does it sound
no
more metal, or is
diabetes
it still
shaming.
really slow?
Is it still like 92 beats per minute?
Yeah,
Like
right.
like like a Marvin Gaye song? Sexual healing, baby. Um, Clint, I saw that, and I think Harvey is going to win his retrial, and I do think he's going to be set free. I do. I actually do believe that, and I think that the
Ye-
the odds are bet on that. If
Hey,
you if
I
you
don't know if you probably haven't even heard this, or I don't know if you want to talk about it, but some new stuff about Neil Gaiman came out.
No, I haven't, but I know about the other stuff about Neil
Yeah,
Gaiman that came
well,
out. The
so
super fifth wave male feminist.
yeah, so there's probably charges that are going to be filed against him, but the
Believe it.
one person came out and said something, and then a whole bunch of other people came out and said, I didn't want to say anything, but since somebody else said something, I'm going to say something now. And so everybody wants to jump on the bandwagon of, yes, we knew how horrible this human being was, but we kept it down because guess what? He gave us access. He gave us a leg up. He gave us entrance into this world that we wanted to get to, which we thought was going to be so profitable. But in all honesty, it's just a haven of horribly disgusting people. But
Oh, 100%. Like, let's not kid ourselves.
yeah,
Those Rachel Zegler IG reels, they are funny.
yeah,
Sling Blade and
yeah.
the Hispanic one where she's talking. I
That's-
mean, that shit is
oh
just
man,
that's some funny
that
shit,
kills
man.
me. That kills me. But
I mean, um it's I don't even care like I don't even know how you look for it. Yeah, the you said a new one dropped today. A new one? Another new one?
okay. Well, I knew that the people making the album or whatever they're doing a whole album, so I knew that they were going to animate some more stuff
Oh,
because
wow.
that site is. I mean, that's what they do is they produce you know smaller tiered metal bands and stuff like that,
Right.
like this Swedish one, Manfred and stuff like that have done stuff in the past. So it's pretty cool.
I don't know how you search for them though, like on Instagram. I just, know how to like
Yeah.
search and it's people. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
actress that
Okay.
played Abby, she's actually a good actress. But
It stinks that so many talented people are getting shoved into these crappy roles
I know,
with
I know, I
horrible
know.
writing and terrible directing.
She
It's just
monologues. She
uh,
monologues to Joel for like 5 minutes
yeah.
while after she shot his leg with a shotgun. She monologues to him in the show for 5 minutes. He's literally sitting there knowing what's about to happen. She is 5 inches from his face. He could punch the shit out of her. And he just sits there and doesn't say a word. And he just lets her talk. It's so ridiculous, dude. Like, it's.
This is post apocalyptic, survival of the fittest type of nonsense here. She's going to sit here and monologue to him, and
Oh
he's
no! And then
not
she
going to.
she flirts with him. She tells him what a handsome guy he. Oh, you are actually a good looking man, and it's
Oh,
so.
it's to disarm him so that she can further, reduce him to nothingness and kill him because
It,
he should feel guilty and allow me to do
it's
this
hard. It's hard to
because I
watch.
deserve it.
It's hard to watch. Did
Because
he go
I
get
deserve
out?
the
I
fiddle
don't know.
faddle. I
Yeah.
want that
Oh
fiddle faddle.
God, give me that fiddle faddle, bitch. Yeah, 3 star. I will say this: I saw where Diddy got turned down to put off on his trial. Like one of the things or whatever, he tried to delay it, and they said nope.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? Play psychological devastation from what he and his cousin did together? Oh, wait, his
Right.
cousin was how much younger than you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's odd.
Yep. Yeah.
Ugh.
So I didn't know there was a new animated music video out for the album. I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
But yeah, I mean, shoot, look, I dig it. I like what they did. I like the old song, but there it is. That's what we're talking about. That's what we need to get into. So how many of you guys in the chat? How many of y'all have been collecting the GI Joe comic? Have y'all been keeping up with it? Have y'all been collecting? And 3 star, I'm gonna play it before we get out of here. Okay, I see it.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I can't. I can't play it. I can't play the music video because
Oh
I'll get
yeah,
struck.
yeah,
I thought you were sending me the Rachel Zegler Hispanic one. That one's fun.
yeah.
So are any of y'all actually getting the Energon universe? Are you collecting the Transformers Energon universe or the GI Joe Energon universe? Um, and or the Hama continuation, right?
Yeah.
From was it 301 up to was it like 315 now, I believe? 315,
Uh,
316 maybe somewhere in there. It's up there.
Not
Might be
counting the silent issues. Yeah, 315 was the last
315.
one
Yeah, there you
released.
go. That's it. And that cover's a little misleading. Um,
Kind of, sort of, not really.
it is because we get car salesman.
Well, but yeah,
But anyway,
I do like that outfit. That outfit's pretty
so
awesome.
the reason why I definitely asked, and Johnny Reno says haven't really since the OG run ended. And yes, G.I. Jetman, I have been watching the show. I watched the first season. I liked it. I was hoping they would differ from the actual second video game, and they decided not to. And that's going to cost them some viewership, and I think it's going to cost them a lot of viewership.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
people are pretty upset about what happened, and some people will continue, but there's a lot of people that are going to drop off just for that because that's what
Oh,
happened with the gameplay.
yeah,
It
Joel's
killed
the
their
main character.
it killed the
The main
gameplay.
character of the game.
Yeah,
Yeah, not since the new 52. Grass says comics are dead. Energon thing, actually good. Well, we're gonna get into that. So stick
yeah.
around for a few
Let's
minutes
check it
and
out.
we'll let you know. Triple D says 100%. I'm guessing he's been collecting them as well. They are worth your time. Now, and I'm going to put you up actually on full screen. I've got mine off to the side, but I knew that you would have yours at the ready. So I'm gonna go kind of, let's see. I wish I could put me like off to the little bitty square here, but we're gonna just put you on front and center there. Um, I like the direction that the Energon universe is going because they are utilizing Cobra Law,
Yeah,
right? And they are making it, in my opinion, quite interesting as you show
yeah,
off some of the covers there. Um, because Cobra Commander. So first and foremost, Matthew, they did limited runs for Scarlet, Duke, Destro, and Cobra Commander, and those were to set up the Energon universe that ties in with the Transformers as well. And I really liked all the limited series runs.
yes.
The Scarlet one,
That was the weakest one of
the
all three,
weakest one, but it
or all
wasn't
four.
terrible
No, it
by any
wasn't
means.
terrible.
Now, Void Rivals, that's kind of the beginning in a way, you know.
It is, and it sucks because it takes about 15 issues
Yeah,
for it to get interesting.
yeah, it does. It really does. The
I
first
I
10 to
I
12
had
are definitely a
I had
slow burn.
contemplated dropping that book for so long, but it was man, I don't remember exactly when it was, but it must have been
You told me. You were like, I'm not into this, and I was like, I
I
kind of like Void Rivals. It's character, people, things I don't know, characters I'm not familiar
so
with.
it was right around issue 13 that it got
Yeah,
interesting.
Pythona.
Yeah, and they
Right.
started introducing this subplot of the Cobra Law faction. So you've got Cobra Law versus the Transformers. You've got organic technology versus Cybertronian technology,
Yes.
and they really make an interesting case. And that this one planet, you I don't know, whatever. This one planet was divided into two, and these two factions hate each other, but basically they hold the keys to reigniting this Unicron-like creature. It's not Unicron, but it is a Unicron-like creature,
Right.
and they are prevented from doing so until they find a way to destroy it, so that they can come together once all the information is together to awaken it to kill it. And so that's their ultimate goal. And one side's like knows this, and the other side is in denial of this, and that's Void Rivals. and they're connected to Transformers, obviously.
Yes.
And then Transformers are connected to G.I. Joe through a lot of the Cobra Law stuff as well.
Well, what I really liked about the Duke Limited run was that we start off with him and having a meeting, I guess, encounter with Starscream.
Yes.
And it goes very badly,
Yeah.
as you would expect. And so the story of Duke, as you get into the G.I. Joe run, is that, he's hell-bent on trying to find out what this machine is, right? Like this robot that killed his buddy.
Yeah.
Destroyed the plane, killed his buddy.
Right.
And that kind of serves as the jumping on point for Duke, who gets sequestered by Hawk. And it's almost kind of like the, not the bad boy kind of thing, but it's like, he's a hothead. Like
Yeah.
Duke is a hothead in this. Like he's, but he's all about the team. And you find out as you get into even the G.I. Joe issues that are at the beginning of the run, he's all about the team, but there are other people he has to work with within that team that it's not like he gets along with these people.
Right.
And if Baroness is a part of this team, she's not part of Cobra in the Energon universe.
At least
Yep.
not yet.
Yep. Chameleon takes the place of Baroness in the Cobra universe, and she is Destro's love interest. And so that she's a sniper. She's a badass. She looks like a badass. And I love it. I love that, so right now that's where we're at. Those things are probably going to go, who knows? But I think it's an interesting way to really jump into a new Transformers G.I. Joe crossover like we had back in the day. But shit gets real.
Yeah.
Rock and roll is a casualty.
Yep.
People do, they lose some people. There are some decisions that are made. This is not just this isn't just your kiddie comic, right?
Well,
I mean, it is definitely working towards those fans that are of an older generation, right?
For those of you that read Chuck Dixon's G.I. Joe run in the IDW verse, he did that a lot with his, but he also created a lot of new characters that came along, and then he could kill said characters, or he used a lot of lesser known characters that he could kill. They're killing off main named characters in this, and I don't know if they're going to replace that code name with somebody else or not, but they're telling something interesting here, and it's different, and it's modern, and it's tied in with these other properties, and it's interesting. I'm picking up the Transformer stuff in trade because everybody keeps saying how good it is, and I've never been into Transformers comic books. I've never really been that interested in Transformers in general, but they do have good storytelling, and the G.I. Joe, Void Rivals, Transformers books tie in together so well,
Right.
that I'm not upset by it. A lot of people don't like Transformers in their G.I. Joe, and I get that. My favorite G.I. Joe Transformers one was the one when they went back to World War II. And so G.I. Joe was happening in World War II with the Transformers.
Right.
The Dreamweaver series was actually really interesting, how they did that one. But I've liked this as going forward. The Larry Hama continuation of IDW's issues from 300 on, that started off rocky, and it was confirmed later that the storyline that they started off with was actually a storyline proposed by, I think, John Barber. I'm not confirmed on that, but it was somebody back at IDW who started the zombie virus storyline, and I was not a fan.
Yeah,
And
I'm going in. I like you going in. When I picked the first book up, I was like, okay, what is happening here? Like,
yeah,
is this? I don't know if I can get into this.
right. But if you want to know, it does end that storyline at a given point in time, and there are no more zombies. The zombies are done.
It's interesting how that happens too.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of, I was brought, I'd had a couple few to read tonight that I needed to, so I was fresh on my mind.
Yeah,
And I will say I love the dialogue in these books. I think that,
yeah,
there's some exposition, but that's what comic books do, right?
right.
There's exposition about what kind of gun or what kind of ammo you're using or what someone's doing, and a character speaks it out loud. And I'm okay with that because that's comics, it's
Yeah,
expected out of comics. But Destro is a bad son of a bitch.
yes, he is.
Destro don't play
Yep.
in this continued Hammer uh, series, and I love that because it's there's violence. I mean,
Yes.
there's violence at
Yes.
100%, and they don't really hold back either. There's some brutal shit. We get the return of the ponytailed Fu Manchu or Soul Patch and mustachioed Cobra Commander. We get the return of that look with the beret. I think that's great. I love that. Um, but Destro's portrayal and the fact that Baroness plays a part in this, and he is driven by reunion.
Yeah.
Cobra Commander is the same old Cobra Commander that would rather hide out and let someone else do the hard work.
Yeah.
And then, and instead of getting into it, he's still content with hiding out. It's classic. Uh, but you juxtapose that to the Energon universe part, where Cobra Commander is really a badass, like force to be reckoned with
Yep.
because he has a mechanical hand. He is obviously from the Cobra Law underworld. Uh, there's an assassination attempt, and he's got someone in the midst of Cobra, and he catches that person, and it's a Cobra Law member. So they're going there. And if you read the Cobra Commander limited series, obviously Globulus, there's
Yeah.
shit there. Megatron is a part of that. That's the whole Energon arc. I'm really loving it, dude. Like I'm
Yeah.
I'm loving this together. I like the Real American Hero as well, but I'm really excited to see where they go with this new comic, man. And
Yeah.
the Transformers one has been really good. It's
Yes.
been a solid
Yep.
new comic. And it's not afraid to people get chewed up in that comic too.
Yeah.
Like they do. They're not playing around.
Yeah. 3-star. Have you noticed what the Cobra symbol looks like? I'm just saying. And the Baroness usually has it right around her crotchal area. And if you think about that Cobra symbol in general and how she puts it right there, right, and, I mean, it's a little Wicked City maybe, but whatever.
Todd C. No, not Bumblebee. Oh no. Speaking of 3-star,
I really, really did like how they did that whole thing with the Transformers at the beginning.
absolutely.
Yeah, no, that was that, and they're not. I mean, necessarily dead, right? You can always repair them and bring them back and put power back into them and stuff. But
Yeah.
and they go over that kind of stuff and how they repurpose themselves, and I thought that was really interesting.
I'm with you. I think it's super cool. I think the whole idea with the arc. I love the underwater part with Shockwave. And I love then Soundwave, like you know
Yeah,
having a different idea, right? You've got
yeah.
these different factions within factions,
Well,
and then
and that's always
Starscream gets
been there, right?
comeuppance. It's
Yeah,
always been there, but
this is just done really well.
I do really like it. I do think that this Transformers comic is
Now,
worth your money.
I do.
I do.
I like the whole Energon universe that they've created, and I like the IDW Hamiverse and Chuck Dixon and Mike Costa's GI Joe that they did for a while. But the Hamiverse continues, and I'm happy about that. Clint, um, other way, well,
I
not
was trying to
exactly.
trying to kind of see that because I mean I remember
So
when
GI Joe didn't save the
yeah
Transformers line. GI Joe gave Hasbro the money to purchase Takara stuff to make Transformers. So GI Joe helped create
okay
Transformers as we know it,
yeah
and it never saved it, but it created it because they made so much money from GI Joe that they went to Takara and said, "Hey, we want to license this stuff for over here," and that's how that got started.
okay because I was curious about that comment because I was trying to think like
Yeah,
okay did I see that? I don't remember that.
yeah, it was a little different than that, but yeah, Bobby
Okay.
Wold, I agree. It's a slow burn, and like I said, it's not until like the teens of the issues that it got interesting to me, and I had contemplated dropping it, but everybody's like telling me how good the Transformers book is, so I'm like, okay, I'll keep
Yeah.
going, and see where this goes, and I started to see little pieces here and there, but man, those first like 8 issues were a slog for me.
Yeah, and I understand that. We you would mention it, I'd
Hey,
say,
Diaclone, yeah,
it's
that's
yeah,
right
it's all
too.
right. And then you would kind of go, yeah, I don't know about it. But I was like, you know what, I'll grit through it. Uh
Yeah,
give it a chance and I like going to the comic shop, so I'm a
yeah,
sucker, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Um
Three stars, right? Also, Diaclone and Takara, so both of those lines. Yeah,
okay. Yeah. And also, yeah, Scrap Iron is in it quite a bit.
yeah.
Of course I know you would definitely love that. Graph, I doubt it.
Well,
Um
so
I
the
don't, but
guy,
I haven't
the,
heard anything. I haven't read anything either
so
about that.
so from what I've heard, they're kind of collabing on a lot of this stuff. So the comic book is using a lot of the classified designs, and so they're kind of turnabout is fair play. So the comic book designers are making stuff that classified is looking at doing. I don't know if they're going to dive into too much of it,
Sure.
but at this point, if we see any comic book stuff, it will probably be the skybound version of it
Yeah.
as they bring it forward. I am shocked, and nobody brought this up on Circle of Jerks or nothing today. I'm like, I am shocked that Hasbro hasn't wanted to do Don Moreno, which is Snake
That's
Eyes.
true. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a female
That's true.
version of Snake
Sure.
Eyes, and
Yeah.
and continuity. There's build up for this character and who she is and what she's going through and the psychological trauma that she's going to with her memories mixed with all of Snake Eyes' memories
Right.
and how she's processing that whole aspect of things. And the design of her alone is fascinating, and I'm surprised that they haven't wanted to do this design yet.
Yeah. So real quick, 3 Star mentioned this, and I was gonna bring this up. I was gonna share with you guys as we were mentioning the Transformers, but this got shared to me, and I went ahead and ordered it. This is a collab with the NFL and Transformers, and they have different little helmets that transform into robots. And of course, I had to get the Pittsburgh Steelers helmet.
Steelers, yeah, yeah.
And so yeah, like how cool is that? $24, 24.99 or whatever.
Nice.
But
Yeah, that's
but
nothing.
I'm like, yeah, I'm all in on this. Are you kidding me? A Steelers helmet that transforms? You can find them on Amazon. Um, look, I don't know
Wow.
the size. I didn't even look up, I didn't even look up the specs to see, okay, what's the size of it. But
Well, I mean, you've seen the NFL graphics for like the last 20 years, right? I
right.
mean, this totally makes sense.
Yeah. I love it though. I think it's
Yeah, I know.
awesome.
That's cool. That's awesome.
And so I went ahead and ordered one.
The
Uh,
only way that I would order one is if they did a Washington Redskins helmet.
well, you know what? Of course, that will never happen.
Right.
However, they do have right here. They have the Cowboys, they have the Packers, the Chiefs, and the Steelers to start out, and I'm
Yeah, of
sure they'll
course.
they'll move on after that. The Cowboys, jokingly, 3 Star said should have been the Decepticons. I
Of course.
agree, 100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But the other thing I want to share with you guys is War Chest sent this to me today, and these are AI images created of some Joes and Cobras, with the battle armor Cobra Commander, which is pretty sweet. Let's see here. There's the Alley Viper, pretty cool image. In AI, I wish I could really drill down how to do this because I love this. There's a bat, and then Stalker. It's pretty sweet.
If you say so.
Let AI do the work for you, Matthew.
No. No.
I'm gonna let AI do the work for me, but that's in a whole different way.
So hey, I don't know if you watched on Circle of Jerks, we talked about the new HasLab. Did you hear about the new HasLab?
No,
No,
no.
it's this life-size version of Lady J. It's going to be a real doll Lady J.
What I've always wanted. Does she come with? Does she come with the voice from the cartoons?
Of course.
Hell yes. Because,
Get that little raspy kind of sexy.
oh,
Oh yeah.
oh yes. That raspy voice. Let's not kid ourselves, guys. You know what I'm talking about. Come on with it.
Obviously, we're kidding, folks. There's nothing released on that, but
Oh, don't get my freaking hopes up. I'm a bitch. Damn,
could you imagine Hasbro doing a?
Oh, God bless America.
You'd have some place to use the patches. That was the line that was used on Circle of Jerks today.
That is freaking awesome, dude. Oh my God. Yeah, Lady J, I like some Lady J. That voice, man. There's something about that voice. Even when I was a kid, man, I knew that voice was something else. She was on to something. Well, she was on the Flint's dick. Anyway.
Yeah, well, you know what's funny? Yeah, funny, not funny, whatever. The voice actress who voiced her
Yes.
looked a hell of a lot like the character.
Really? It smokes
Yes.
like 2 packs a day.
I don't know about that, but she was very nice and very pleasant to meet.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Then she stepped
getting
out
her
back
and
and
getting
choked
her and
down
Bill
14
Ratner together
cigarettes.
is hilarious.
Oh no!
So you
that's
get Flint
actually
and Lady
pretty
J
neat.
together, and
That's
then
pretty cool.
you get BJ Ward and Michael Bell. So you get Duke
Yeah.
and Scarlet,
Yeah.
Flint and Lady J together. Those four are hilarious. You throw Morgan Lofting in there, she was hilarious. She knew exactly who she was and who she was pandering to at all the Joe conventions and stuff like that.
Sure.
She was amazing to talk to.
Oh, I bet, and everybody would love a Baroness. Everybody would, with that accent, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I will say it reminds me of something. It reminds me of when me and 3 Star took and my son went to go see that release of the Transformers, like first 3 episodes or whatever in the theater. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And they had the guys who did the voice acting and a couple replacements. It wasn't all the original people, but it was Michael Bell. There was a few people there. Peter Cullen. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Chris Adler had to pass by then, wouldn't he?
yeah, but Megatron.
Frank
oh my
Welker.
God. Thank you, Frank Welker. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so that was so disappointing. Look, the spirit of it,
Yeah.
cool, but the execution,
Yeah.
it was so disappointing. We were laughing when we were just cutting up because
Yeah.
watching the cartoon, seeing all the mistakes, that you
Oh
don't
yeah,
catch, the dialogue, and it's just like this is not like what is this? But it was rather disappointing. So sometimes when you get all the voice actors together, it doesn't quite turn out the way you wished it would. Let's just say that. Sometimes you get magic, like you're talking about.
Something. Oh well,
Sometimes you don't.
and it really helps that they got a whole voice acting panel up at Joe Con that year. The
Oh,
best Joe
wow.
convention ever was Joe
Yeah.
Con,
Yeah.
and you get everybody together, and then you do a voice read of a fan script when you talk about Marissa Fairborn. So you've got Bill Ratner and Lady J.
Yeah.
I forgot who voiced her, but off the top of my head right now. But talking about their daughter, and that was awesome.
Yeah, that would actually be pretty awesome to see. Yeah, I'm down for trying to get Storm Shadow's autograph. You kidding me?
I think he's going to be at DFW too. I thought he was on the list there
Iron
too.
Knife. Um. So yeah. To round it out though, as far as the comics, like if you haven't collected comics in a long time, I can understand why you wouldn't be into it. I can understand why you wouldn't want to track them down, why you wouldn't want to go to your local comic shop if you even have one. Buying them online is a pain in the ass, paying for shipping and all that stuff.
Well-
You're paying way over. I mean, I don't know if they're available digitally. I have not looked that up personally to see.
I got off the digital bandwagon since Comixology shut down.
Sure.
But what really sucks is the fact that most people who bought online for their comics did it from Things from Another World, and Things from Another World is done. They are shut down. And then as of, I think, mid-April, they're done. They're no longer shipping out anything. So any
Okay.
pre-orders or anything that you had from them, it's all done. You had to change things and refund monies and stuff like that because they've decided they're not doing this anymore. So their main distributor was probably Diamond, and
Great.
Diamond Distributors. And so Diamond Distributors went bankrupt, is going to get bought by some other conglomerate, and other distribution networks are going to be needed to be found for comic books.
Right.
So there's not a really good online source to order comic books from except for Amazon. And then you can only really get the trades from them.
Yeah, I mean, you can find, I mean, I've searched. You can find. I need episode 15 of Transformers, and I'm gonna just have to bite the bullet and buy it online. It's pissing me
Yeah.
off, but that's the only way I'm gonna be able to get it. I just hate to pay for that shipping. Yeah. A Quick Kick signature. Clint says, "Yeah, I'll get you a pick an autograph from Quick Kick." Is he gonna be at DFW?
I don't think so. I only saw a couple of people that were going to be at DFW. Zartan and Storm Shadow, I thought were going to
Oh,
be
at Joe Fest. Shit. Okay. Hello. Wait, did he also do Storm Shadow?
No.
That's-
Different voice
that's
actor.
what I thought.
The one who
That's what I
voiced
thought.
Zartan and Storm Shadow, I believe, are coming to DFW. Joe Fest is going to have a different set of people. I don't know.
Huh. Well, shit. I mean, I'll be there, so we'll find out.
Yeah.
I'll seek him out. I'm gonna. So this will be my second year going to Joe Fest, and now that I've been and I know like what to do and
Yeah.
what I'm going to be looking for, rather than
Yep.
being enamored with the whole showroom. Now I know kind of what I'm going to drill down that I want.
Right.
Last year was kind of like, oh gosh, I don't have CoverGirl. Let me get CoverGirl. And then it was like, oh man, I didn't want that, and I want this, and and it's kind of like, ah, man, I really, I can't see them, but I've got some of those 25th anniversary 5-packs or whatever that, you know what I mean? They open up, you can press the star on the front of it and all that. I love those. I love the way those look. And so I got a couple of those and some other shit. Anyway, but this year there's some specifics that I'm going to be looking for. And that's kind of exciting. Where last year I just kind of was like, I gotta go through every booth. I gotta look to see what everything, and now it's like, okay, I kind of got it drilled down. So I'm excited. I can't wait. And I can't wait to see anybody that's here in the chat that's going
Yeah.
to Joe Fest. And one day, Matthew, maybe I'll up and surprise you and go to one of the Nerdrotic or Friday Night Tights
Oh yeah.
meetups, and I'll just show up out of the blue in Texas or something and
Good stuff.
surprise you. Yeah, that'd be awesome. But yeah, man, I highly recommend the Joe comics, the Transformers. So for you guys that maybe have a comic book shop and looking to find something a little extra to get into, man, I think the Energon universe is interesting. I think that
Yep.
they're doing a really good job of tying it together. There's some awesome covers.
Yeah.
And I like
Man,
the
I
writing.
will tell
I
you
like the
that
writing
if
so
you
far.
look at my GI Joe photographs, since Skybound has taken over, the exponential number of comic book panels and covers that I have done, um, it's growing all the time because whether I like the artwork or not, there's something that strikes me about it, and I'm like, I can do that in action figure form, and I've been doing it. I've done it with a lot of the old ones, but recently it's been a lot of the new ones from both of the Energon and Hamaverse, and just the panel setups are really cool. So it's inspiring me to do that kind of
So
stuff. So I
it's a
check it
lot
out.
lot to choose from too. Good God, I mean,
Yeah.
if you even just covers, I mean, God knows, not only first printing where they have 6 or 8 different covers, but then once you get to second and third and fourth printing, man, they're putting some pretty cool stuff out there.
Yep.
Uh,
So I just looked it up. DFW is going to have Zach Hoffman, who did Zartan,
yep.
Keanu Young, who did Storm Shadow, and Greg Berger, who did Grimlock and Firefly and Spirit and Cutter.
Okay. Um, shit, that's a pretty good list.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see why people would pick one over the other and what suits your needs,
Well,
and are
you
there
kind of have to
autographs
pick
you
one over the
want, or
other
there
because they're almost back to back weekends. So
yeah, and unless you've set aside to be able to travel to both, and some people do. Some people do. Some people that's what they like to do.
some
Mr.
people are
Magus,
crazy.
keep an eye out for a hiss for you. I'm sure there probably will be
Yeah.
one at Joe Fest. I have no doubt about it. I don't know what they're going to be asking, but
Well, and then you
that
gotta think about shipping because shipping that thing's gonna be.
well, true. That's true. But the hiss is not going for it's not going for what I think a lot of people thought it was going to be going for. On the
Is it
open
not?
market.
I mean, I don't
I
know.
I don't think so. At least when I've just happened to come across it now, people that are really looking and digging into that. But occasionally I'll come across one and it didn't seem like it was extraordinarily expensive, but maybe I just read it wrong. But there's been a couple times I've
I
seen it.
sold my second one for a pretty good deal. So
Ain't nothing wrong with that, baby. I only have one, by the way. But that's all I got. I just get one. I get one of each thing, basically. No armies for me. So if a guy gets killed, he's done. Only one bat, one experimental. Um, damn, Johnny Reno says somebody here locally was trying to sell one for 1,400.
ooh, that's a lot.
That's a lot. That's man, that's a lot.
That's a guy that you let him sit on that for 10 years
Yeah.
and he'll come down to $300.
Right. Okay. Exactly. Well, look, shit, man. It's about 20 after 11. I know you've got an early day tomorrow. I also know that you still only do about 5 hours of sleep because you're a madman, but it doesn't mean you don't need your beauty rest. I know I need mine. God, you seen this face? Uh, but what do you got coming up, man? Is there any covers you're going to be shooting in the next couple days? Here,
Shooting, things I've already shot. You can look forward to some silent issue covers. Let's see. Oh no, that's the wrong stack. This one. Silent issue. Let's see here. I already released that silent issue cover that I did there with Beachhead. I did some panels from inside that one. I did this cover. I'm pretty happy with the way my action figure version of this cover turned out. That's going to
Nice.
be released next Wednesday. And I did some panels from inside of that will be released this Wednesday. So I've always got stuff cooking. I've been loving this Red Sonja figure. So she's been showing up and stuff. She's been showing off in a bunch of stuff lately with Conan and
As well she should.
And then I'm sure that you're going to see some new versions of Tiger Force. So
Oh,
just keep an eye on it. I've got some Batman and Scarecrow, and I'm always doing something fun. So check it
love
out.
it. Love it, man. Love it, man. Well, as for myself, shoot, I mean, other than Sunday night, coming up at the end of this week, with another Unfiltered, then it'll be back next Tuesday with you and Wednesday with 3-Star. I know 3-Star and Crushed Crow are doing Backyard Battlefield tomorrow night, so you guys tune into that. It's been a really good show with the two of them holding it down. It's gotten better and better every week, and they tend to have some pretty good ideas, topics and stuff for sure. So definitely check them out tomorrow night. I always like to prep that. And if you guys don't know, May Power of the Force. So if you're wanting to review a Power of the Force figure from the prequel trilogy, you need to let Punk know. Just all you gotta do is make a quick review of a figure. They cost nothing online, that's for sure.
And this week's Thursday with a Friend is with Young Joe Jerk.
Oh,
Coming
shit.
on
Okay.
Punk with Toys for Thursday.
Okay. Bobby Wool wants to know if you have a YouTube channel, Matthew. I'll let you answer that.
I have a couple YouTube channels, and there's not much on them. I've got a bunch of old martial arts videos on one, and some of my action figure videos that I've done on the other. So they're not really active channels, but they do exist.
There is one video that I saw on your channel where you broke a guy's hand in 5 different places. I know I saw it with my own eyes. I know I saw it. Oh, I'm an asshole. Mr. Wonderful chiming in right at the end, man. Hey, always good, better late than never, my friend. Unfortunately, it's about time for us to sign off. But yeah, man, that's about it, y'all. Obviously, like I said, Power of the Force review, that can be really fun. And if you've never made a video, that's my first video that I really made was that. And I had my son help me, and it was a lot of fun doing it and reviewing the figure. And now I know what not to do for this time. So is learning a lesson on that. But yeah, man. Anyway, so that's about it. Yeah, I get it. Getting something live, my friend. Really appreciate you guys hanging with us for sure. Always, every time, every week. Listen to us ramble on and talk about movies, TV, comics, and whatever. We'll be back next Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central for the Evening Blend. For Matthew Matson, I'm Pop Blender. Y'all have a great rest of your week, folks.